McCormack 365.
Heat 11, which is on a Friday evening. We have got Trap 1, Faypoint Susie, 2, Aero Aaron, 3, Fabulous Azura, 4, Deanwood Sparky, 5, Sporting Montana, and 6, Box Office Benny. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I think everything points to Fabulous Azura. 18 weeks out of season, got a trap. I think won the Brighton Belling season, if I'm not mistaken. I might be talking shit, but won't be a first. One beat two fair and square the last time they met at Toaster and Trial Stake. There's a little dog I like here called Sporting Montana. I actually think he's got a good draw. I know he cost a lot of money as a pup from Jerry Griffin, and he went to Owen McKenna. And since then, he's been moved on to Jack, and Jack's had him, and I think he's sort of come back to a little bit of the form that he was showing. He's all early pace. 500 toe, he might be his whack, but I'm going to take a little chance on him here. I think Sporting Montana might be a big price on the machine, maybe sort of 8, 10, 12, and I'd be happy to take my chance and take on the Jolly. So, yeah, Sporting Montana might be my pick at a big price.
Cheers, mate. Bomber, what are you thinking?
Yeah, look, from a selection point of view, 3 is an absolute moral for me. Does it all, early pace, the whole lot, fast dog in the race. She came over for the Night of Stars bitch race in Ireland, and God, she was impressive when she won it, and that was a proper good field that she beat. Now, she got her box in the night, but she still won it. I think she only lost one race since going back to the UK. Was like the week after she ran the Night Stars race, but yeah, she's an absolute machine. She puts it all together. I just can't see away from her. 5 ran way better than I expected him to in the trial stakes. I looked at the dogs that he brought over, and it was all about Beepers Larry, and I thought he probably brought 2 others that, like, yeah, because you're traveling over, you're bringing them with you. They're not dogs that you go, I'll go to English Derby with them. Because he's still A2. I think he's A1 or A2 in Ireland still. Believe it or not. But yeah, showed a lot of pace, was really impressive, especially for a first look at the track, I think. But yeah, look, I just think he can't get away from 3. But yeah, I thought 5 ran well. If he finds anything from the last day, he'll give a good showing of himself. But yeah, I just can't see away from 3. Like, for what 5 has done in Ireland, I know what Craig's talking about. I had heard about the dog before, but like, ran a lot of A2 races in Limerick that he didn't win. It's like the lad said, it's just different class. Like, Fabs Azur has beaten the best around. I thought she was actually one of the most impressive Night Stars winners when she did. Probably the most impressive UK winner, in my opinion, in the Night Stars race. So, yeah, I definitely she can't get away from her. So, Fabulous Azur.
Cheers, Bomber. Welshie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, sorry to disappoint, but very, very similar to Bomber in the sense that when you saw Azura Brown Shelburne, she ran incredibly well. Sports Montana in Trap 5, a good breaker at A2 level, but this is different class, this is different gravy, and I can't see, even if 5 breaks, I think Azura will get inside it. First bend, second bend, and game over. So at even money, I'm happy to bet Trap 3, no problem. The rest of the dogs in the race, no offence to Connections again, but none of them are near the level of Trap 3, who's done it well. Ran very well in the UK. Yeah, Azura all day long. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Moving on to Heat 12. We've got Clona Duke in 1, Ballamat Bronze in 2, Bubbly Scorcher in 3, Bet Shop Boy in 4, Knock Duff Esky in 5, and in 6, Hurry Up Jordan. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I really like Clona Duke. I think he's one of the best Irish dogs that have been sent over. Trap 1 will be okay. Ballymac Bronze can run. Obviously, the trial suggests that 29.08. It's got some decent form as well over the pond. I can't have 3, 4, or 5. For me, it's 1, 2, 6 of the 3 runners. I just think Duke's a class above. I think it's the one with the most early pace. It'd be a dog that I'd like to bet to win the Derby. Sort of like 50s or 40s. Can really run. Got loads of early pace. And for me, it'd be like a perfect poster dog as well. So Hurry Up Jordan's kind of got all the speed in the world, but just never doing it in races. Ballymac Bronze, another one that just needs a little bit of luck in running. But yeah, Clone Duke for me will be the obvious pick in the race. I know it's going to be short. It's going to be probably 4 to 5, 4 to 6, whatever it's going to be. But yeah, I think this is a proper Derby contender, to be honest. So yeah, Clone Duke.
Here's me. Bomber, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think Clone Duke is my favourite dog in racing at the moment. I think he's the best. I think people get caught up between the fastest dogs and the classiest, the best dogs. I think Clone Duke is definitely the best dog in the country at the moment. He just has it all. He's early pace. He's a great bend runner. He sees out the trip well. He just has everything. And the thing I love about him, he's just so genuine. He'll throw himself across the corner to put himself in front. Clone Duke won the Comer for Cake stake at the end of the year, the pup stake in Shelburne the end of last year. And he was probably 30 spots off. Like, he was the Finnish article. He was a raw pup. And I've seen Graham Holland do it over the years with dogs, with like the likes of Clare's Rocket. When he thinks that much from him, he's not afraid to put them throw them in the deep end. Like, he wasn't a pup that was schooled for 12 months, got ready for an unraced stake, the Juvenile Classic. He was thrown in the deep end as a raw pup, and he came out on top, won the final at a big price against some serious dogs, backed it up in the Night Stars a few weeks later, got the job done again, went into the Kirby, did the huge runs early on, didn't go right from one night, got knocked out, it happens, and then he went straight into select stakes in Waterford against the best early pace dogs around, and had a horror draw on 5 in the final, in with the likes of the other Ollie, Crypto Punk all on the inside of him, and he led them stone cold to the corner. I thought his win in the select stakes was unbelievable. Honestly, from 5, I couldn't believe when he won. I thought he'd no chance. Especially Granny City in 6 cutting across as well. So look, I think this is the dog. Everything about Tulsa suggests that suits him. His one Achilles heel is he's not the consistent fast breaker, but I just think he's classy enough to get the job done. He reminds me a lot of Ballymac Vic, very similar type of dog. Has a great mix of pace, very pace, great bender, and wants to win races. Yeah, I think this is Graham Holland's best. I think it's the best Graham's gone over. It's a toss up between him and Ballymac Finn. I'd put him over Swords Rex. I think Swords Rex, yes, he's a faster dog, but this lad, I think he just has all the attributes you want in a Greyhound gone over. And yeah, so I'll go for Clone Duke. Ballymac Bronze, I'll give him a quick shout out, to be fair. He ran the Derby last year, 16 months old, 17 months old. I couldn't believe. I thought he was going to be one of the future stars. Did some terribly poor trials to start of this year. Ran accordingly to his trials, but his last couple of trials have been really good. And if he can go back to the form that he showed last year when he was a pup, the trials now suggest that he's back. He should give a good show of himself as well. He could go a couple of rounds of the Derby. He's very, very classy dog when he puts it all together. But yeah, I just think Clone Duke, he's my dog for the Derby. And I hope I don't balk him now. But yeah, Clone Duke for me.
Here's Bomber. Welshie, what are you thinking?
I disagree with Bomber completely. I think he's just boxed him, to say the least. He's a great dog. What a dog. But when I watched Clone Duke, I thought that dog is set up for the Irish Derby. And when I saw him got named for the English, I was very surprised. I thought, well, where has that come from? He ran very well in the early Limerick, Conor Kirby, stakes. I thought that this dog is different gravy, but he showed a bit of vulnerability, and I just thought it's a bit too early for the dog, and I disagree in the sense that for Graham Holland runners, where you've got Swords Rex, who has been and done it round Shelburne and has done it off the pace. He's done it from the start. He's boxed well. I just think Clona Duke has one bad start in it, and that's game over. I think that's 4th, 5th, 6th in an English Derby round toaster. You have to break around this track. You can't break slowly and get away with it. It's just not possible around here. So when he's surrounded by pace and misses it, I think that's a big problem. Saying that, Hurry Up Jordan ran at one more in the Puppy Cup and didn't cover itself in glory, in my opinion. Should have been qualifying to the final, really, and got knocked out first round. No offence to Craig Morris, but Noctaveschi, I don't think it's quite this level. Patrick's dog, Bet Shop Boy, it's had a good break in it, but the last trial wasn't the best, so let's base it on that. And what have you got to go on? A 4:29? It's not the greatest. Bubbly Scorcher. No offense to Youngie's connections and Bubbly Club, but nothing great there. Ballymac Bronze, yeah, not a bad dog, but can it compete with Clona Duke? No, not really. I think Clona Duke wins this race. I don't disagree. I think it's a good. If you can get anything near 10 to 11,
I think
8 to 13. But I don't know. Anything on the machine on the night, anywhere near 10 to 11-ish, 8 to 13, I'd be ploughing in, to be honest, big time. I think Clona Duke qualifies no problem from this round, but I think further on in second round, third round, that's where you might see a bit of vulnerability in Clona Duke, but very, very good dog.
How easy was that to say for you?
Well, after a few sherries, not the easiest, but I agree.
I think you're harsh on him. I think like he's finished outside the top 3 once.
Right.
Well,
I agree with Bomber in the sense that this is absolutely nails this heat, no problem, trap on. But give him a tough trap too with a few good Irish dogs, couple of chasers, a couple of good early pace dogs. Let's see what he's made of.
My point, Welsh, is he went in as a raw pup against the best pups in the country, older pups in the country, and he bossed them in the final. He backed it up, went in select stakes, first all age race, bet them. Like I don't think he does. It's not that he doesn't have experience against them type of dogs. He's been in it. He finished the top 3 once. Yes, the Kirby off of poor break, 140 split. At the same time, for me, yes, Toaster, it's different track. If you don't trap, you're in trouble. But I just think, in terms of class, this dog just finds a way to get himself involved. And there's no point I'm not trying to argue, but I just think, in terms of, like you said, he finished 450. He hasn't done it much before, so I don't see why he would. Just my opinion, but I just think
I agree with what you're saying, Mama. But put him in against a Finn, Swords Rex.
Yeah, but Swords Rex doesn't have a good record as he does in with them. Just like Swords Rex has gotten himself bit more times. I'm just saying.
Yeah, let's see how he gets on against them.
Right, I think we're moving on to Heat 13. And in trap 1, we have Ballymac John, Wide Open in 2, Chelsea's Bullet in 3, Arcadia in 4, Chelm's Switch in 5, and in 6, Romeo Mission. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Well, Wide Open's now a non-runner. Ballymac John. Obviously, nice enough young dog, fine in the trap. Probably helps that wide open doesn't run. Chelsea's Bullet, another one that'll be okay in the trap, but I just think Arcady's probably got a bit too much for these. It's been running pretty well, won the juvenile, had Romeo come on turn, bang on its ass, and didn't do anything with it. It's got its little quirks, but it's one of them sort of dogs that seems to like Toaster. Yeah, I just think Arcady's probably a little bit too good for these, if I'm being honest. I just think it'll make all, and I think when it's on the skin, I think it's quite jealous. So, yeah, if I had to pick anything, I'd be going Arcady.
Well, shit.
I'm rushing to bet, but yeah, Arcady for me.
See, mate.
Yeah, have to agree. I think this was the best value of, well, one of the best value dogs around. You get, again, about 15 to 8, I think, when the early prices came out from Ladbrokes, William Hill, and so on. I think Arcady was about 15 to 8, and I thought that was nuts considering the recent runs it's done around Central Park. It's a very good dog, so 15 to 8 I thought was nuts, especially in this kind of heat. I think Chelsea Bullet will run well, Panama John will run okay, but yeah, I agree. Arcady is the one to be on.
Bomber?
I can't say I agree with the lads because I didn't hear what they said, but yeah, look, this has to be one of the UK's best hopes to win the Derby. Simple as that. Was impressive when you won the juvenile. Simple routine. Get out and catch me if you can. Massive early pace. Was desperate and lucky in the competition in Central Park in the Cat 1 final from pillar to post. Ended up winning. Him and Hopes Panton had a pile up early on in the race, and they were just sitting ducks coming home. But this dog is massive early pace. Should just be out and gone. Like, he has to be one of the UK's best hopes to win. Simple as that. He there was a few question marks about him early on. I think it was Sunderland or something he ran in. Remember, there was a bit about him, but he's put that long behind him now, to be fair.
I don't know if he put it long behind him. I think he's still got that quirk about him.
Yeah, but has he ever repeated it? The same thing he did?
Yeah, but the thing is, what he did at Sunderland, he kind of got distracted the running, and I think
he eased up coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, when Romeo Command turned second, I thought, I'll just get him and that'll be that. And I think he's quite a jealous dog. And I think when he gets on, I think he's different gravy. But I think after that, I think he's got his question marks. Like,
yeah, but to be fair, like, he is a front runner like that. If he's out and gone, it's not a question of that he's gonna look. It's something that always happened, and it could happen again. But I think he's had enough races now to suggest that's never a worry if you're ever on him. That's going to be your problem. Yeah, look, if he puts it all together, if he's out and gone, it's catch me when you can. Perry Barr didn't suit him as much just because he ran with dogs that were kind of similar types to him. Early pacers don't want to be with other early pacers. It's as simple as that. They want to be with dogs that can lead in week out. And to be fair to him, Toaster's longer around the corner. That it does suit him. He's going to be a very hard dog to lead. This heat, he looks immoral, to be fair. He'd have to do something ridiculous. He'd have to pull up again. But yeah, Arcady for this one for me.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 14. We've got Springside Bucko in 1, The Balls Freddy in 2, Savannah Top Cat in 3, Jetstream Wind in 4, Dapper Larry in 5, and in 6, Friday's Awesome. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I'm with my boy, no doubt. I mean, I've had a bit of chew on at Newcastle with with his time in the sprint. I mean, they give it 1770. If he's done 1770, then I want my eyes ripping out. I clocked it myself. I got 1693. A pal of mine clocked it, got 17 dead. Who knows? Who truly knows? But I think the 3's staying pretty straight. I think the 1 is okay in the red. No really early pace. The 4 has got a bit of pace, but for me, when it seemed like it led round at Towie, it sort of caught a bit of a fluke break. The 5 just looks like it's a bit of an ambitious entry, and the 6 doesn't look up to it. So for me, the 3 runners are the 2, 3, and 4. I had Freddie favourite of the 3 dogs. Listen, I could be biased, I don't know, but I think 4-1, 7-2. I think they're a fucking joke and insulting price. He is undercooked. I'll be honest. You know, he needs a run. He's not run since the 16th of March, which is it's a fair old while, but he's strong enough. If he got close enough, I'd fancy him being, pretty good. But yeah, 4-1, 7-2. I'm going to be with Freddie, and I've had a good bet on him, and hopefully he goes and does the business. But the main thing is he just qualifies, and that'll do me, to be honest.
Cheers, mate, and good luck with Freddie. Welshie, what do you fancy?
I'm hopeful for Craig's charge that the Bull Freddie qualifies. Obviously, he's a great dog, good pedigree. Has ran well in the Derby previously. It's just a cracking dog. I hope he's got enough to win, but I think it's a tough heat between 2, 3, and 4. I agree with what Craig's mentioned. I fancy 4 based on just times alone round Toaster. 3 is widely fancied by bookmakers. I don't really get that, to be honest. He's a good dog, but has he shown enough to win a Derby heat? Not for me, really, to be honest. He's all right. He's had a good trial, but I'm not overly fussed on the dog. When you've got a dog like the Bull Freddie in 2, no, I don't fancy 3 at all. And especially when you're getting about 6-4, 6-5. Not for me. I fancy 4, and I hope Freddie comes inside and either picks up or at least comes second for Darkester. So I'm massively against the favourite, and we'll see what happens for the dog that wins.
Bomber?
Yeah, look, I don't know about the dog, but his owner in Trap 2 is an absolute dodge. So, yeah, look,
agreed.
Absolute dodge. I don't know how he hasn't been suspended, the owner, yet so far. Yeah, I'm surprised he's even allowed into tracks at this stage. Yeah, look, this is a tough heat to pick. I think for Craig, it's not a bad heat to get the dog a run back. He's obviously had his issues, been on and off the track. Very fast when he's right. The 1770 trial, like even it's a hand timed, like it's just mental stuff with how they're even doing that. It's just crazy. They're ironically they're guessing. Is that right, dog guesser? But yeah, look,
To be honest, Bomber, I wouldn't even call it guessing. I think it's uneducated, being honest.
Yeah, it's just
I was there. I got 1693, and
and you're looking at his card there, and like he's a consistent low 17-second sprinter around Newcastle, like so.
If he'd done 1770, he wouldn't be in the Derby. Let's be honest.
Exactly. I look 3 is very good around Toaster. Has some very nice runs around Oxford now. So that's 26.98. It's not a bad run. It's Oxford form is better than 4's, to be fair, even looking at it. I can see 3 is favourite, lads. Yeah, I can see why 3 is favourite. but it's not a heat that I would run them back. And if 3 repeats the run it did last week, can probably break better than 4:19 as well, to be honest with you. It's a serious chance. 4 does have good early pace as well, but I don't know. He's a hard dog to work out as well. I would probably go for 3 if I was picking selection, but obviously, look, I hope Craig shows us all up and wins with the Bold Freddy by 5 lengths. But look, best luck in the heat, Craig. I hope it goes well for you. But yeah, I would go for trap 3 if I was picking selection.
Thank you, Bomber. Heat 15, we've got Romeo Top Gun in 1, Master 1010 in 2, Mr. Incredible has been withdrawn. We've got 4, we've got Savannah Runart, 5, Belmore Cricket, and in 6, Famous 8. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I thought this was another heat where I thought like the winner would just win. Belmore Cricket, who he has a tendency when he runs out of 5 and 6 at knots to just sort of step in a little bit. But I can't really see past Belmore Cricket here. I think the 2-1 about him, I think, is nigh on insulting. There's nothing for me in the race that will really come from behind him. I had him more sort of even money 5-4, and you can bet 2-1 him. So it'd be a dog that I'd want to bet in the round, and he's a dog that I had bet in the round. So I think he's too big for me. Belmore Cricket would be a proper bet, really, to be honest. Not much more to add. I think he's a good bet.
Cheers, mate. Welshie?
Yeah, similar. Sorry to disappoint, but Famous 8 in 6 for the Reese Kennel. Very slow away, but will come home strong. Same from 4. Savannah Runart is a very strong runner, but does his running from 3 to 4. Master 1010, not quick away. That leaves you with 2 dogs, in my opinion, round toast. So you need to be quick away and kind of hope for the best. And for me, Romeo Top Gun, I fancy Romeo Top Gun for a while, to be honest. I thought, well, it's got a good chance. But I kept watching the Knots trial, the Knots races, and then the Toaster trial. And I just thought, I can't get a beat. It was the same as Dog Guesser. I think that's one of the best bets of the round. 9-4 Belmore Cricket. You can get 9-4 now. My advice would be take that price. It's a crazy price. And I think when you look at a 5-dog race with what's in it, it's a 2-dog race between 1 and 5. I'm massively with 5 as well.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, they're boring one for us, but yeah, I agree with the lads 100%. Look, actually, so I said earlier about Fabulous Azura being a massively impressive Night of Stars winner, Shelburne, but yeah, Savannah Runart was actually crazy impressive on the night, and kind of one of the shock winners on the night, I would say. Not one too many people expected to run as well as it did. But the problem I have was it hasn't ran since it won the night in Shelburne, so it hasn't ran since Night of Stars, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. Trials are decent back, but it's funny. One thing about this race is what suits Belmore Cricket is a lot of strong running dogs. He's just different grade, early pace to all these. Romeo Top Gun exceptionally fast, can do some ridiculously good 5.75s. Romford when he comes away. I agree with Dog Guesser. I'm not a big fan of seeing the withdrawn a week before the Derby, but maybe that was the case. They didn't want to run him. In preparation for the Derby, it's either or. But yeah, I think Belmore Cricket, savage early pace, great sprinter on Nottingham the last day. I was saying about Mustang Jet earlier. Same for him. It took Belmore Cricket a few runs to learn Toaster. He came for a few trials, a couple sprints, never lit the place on fire. And now his last 2 runs of Toaster seems to really put together, consistently breaking from it as well. Change of traps maybe suiting them. I don't know. But yeah, absolute dynamite early pace. If he's 9-4, it's serious value because to be honest with you, he should be out and gone. Only a Romeo Top Gun can really put it up to him. Master 10-10, consistent dog, very good. But I just don't think he can come away enough. I think Belmore Cricket just be out and gone. So I think the only danger of Belmore Cricket is probably the top. But yeah, I would definitely go for Belmore Cricket. I think he's an absolute plot to draw here. Especially what's around him for early pace. Even if Mr. Incredible's running, he wouldn't trouble him early. If anything, Mr. Incredible just would have made him a better price. And yeah, it's just still Belmore Cricket for me.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 16, we've got Magical Kyle in 1, Ballymac Shaney in 2. Has that been withdrawn as well?
Goes I.
Yeah.
Candolin Monsoon in 3, Smoky Frank in 4, U2 in 5, and Censure Judge in 6. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Well, this was a real match between 1 and 3. All the bookmakers are priced it the same way. I can't get away from anything else. The 1 moves off from red, but yeah, like I say, it doesn't really matter because no 2. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them sort of heats where I just go 4-5, 5-4, any price, the rest of them. So, yeah. I'm not going to have a bet in the race because, the price I found it. So, I would be with 1/3 slightly. Very, very slightly, and that's it. So, yeah. That'd be me, pal. 1/3.
Cheers, dog guesser. Welshie, what do you think?
I agree with Craig. Just slightly the other way around, though, in the sense that I looked at the original race and I thought Ballymac Shaney was the one. To be honest, Magical Kyle doesn't get the trip all that well, so I've gone Candolin Monsoon. To be honest, I think Monsoon, even if not trapping, will pick up Magical Kyle. So I'd be happy to take 6-4 plus on 3, but I agree it's not a race I'm gagging to bet on, but I take 3/1, to be honest.
Bomber?
Yeah. I was actually raging 2 came out because 2 was a dog that I was actually waiting for to run this derby just because I thought he'd go under the radar. He's exceptionally fast. He's now out, which is disappointing. He would have been a huge price, especially in this heat. I'd have just taken a chance. Magical Kyle was a dog that was sold in the Toaster sales earlier in the year. I'm not on commission to promote Toaster sales. I just thought I'd say it. But yeah, he has run well, to be fair, since he joined the Wallace Kennel. Didn't expect him to be maybe as good as he is. But yeah, he's done it all from the front. Ties up badly enough coming the home straight, but he does a lot to deter Ben running, to be fair. I get the impression he was the type of dog that was probably able to do 28, 55, 60 in Limerick. Probably with a good turban split, maybe pack a full, just to put him in the sales. They got well paid from. They can't complain, but maybe just didn't think he was that 550 Shelburne Park type of dog, a derby dog per se. But yeah, good consistent dog, well drawn this heat. Thought he ran well from 1 against Bacchus Crystal. Now it was her first look at the track. But I don't think it's going to be too much of a hindrance for him. I know 1's the best breaking box and lads avoid it, but I think it's more important for him to get onto the rail. So yeah, I do fancy him in this heat. 3's also a good consistent dog. Very hit and miss at breaks though. Can either come away or not come away. It's one or the other. There's no middle ground really. But yeah, just looking at the heat, there's a couple of other dogs that just kind of do the circuit for me. I would say probably 1. I would go for 1 off the draw. I don't mind him in trap 1, to be honest with you. If the 3 box can get 3 out, he becomes a major player in the race. Because if it breaks, it is very fast. But I would go on consistency. I will go for 1 in this heat. I don't know what price 1 is now, lads. Actually, but on selection, I go for 1.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 17. We've got Derby's Delight in 1, Havana All Ablaze in 2, Savannah Bow in 3. Ian's Warrior has been withdrawn, and that's not running in trap 4. Perfecto String in 5, and Forest Icon in 6. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy? You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I knew. To be honest, mate, it was one of them where I really wanted to like the Derby dog in 1. I thought the 4 might lead and then slow the race up. I think he's a bit of a quirk, but obviously he's now been withdrawn. So if I'm being honest, I fancy the 6. I think he's nigh on bulletproof. Like Derby's Delight hasn't run great the last couple of runs he's run. He's got his issues between the ears, without being rude to connections. The 2 has got fantastic early pace and is going to lead the 1. But I just think 6 will get first run on 2, and I think that'll be that. Savannah Bow obviously made the final last year and is a very good Greyhound, but would have to come back to life, I think, to sort of be involved in the mix here. But like, if that qualified, you could quite happily be, very happy and, thinking of more for that. But it's had a long time off, and it's a hard thing for a Greyhound, and it's going to be short of a run. But originally, like I say, I liked Derby's Light, and now I probably like Forest Icon, but I'd say 6-2-1, 6-1-2, sort of. That'd be my idea of the play of the race. But again, it won't be a thing I'd want to bet. So, yeah, 6 for me, Forest Icon.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's a good bet now. Originally, when I saw the race pan out, I thought 2 leads without a shadow of a doubt. Very fast Greyhound to the bend, but doesn't stay the trip. So why it's entered into a derby, I'll never know, because it's not going to get past the first round, maybe the second round, let alone last 6 rounds. Don't get it. But Savannah Bow last, we know that. Got to the Derby final last year, just keeps going and going. Derby's Delight is the best, shall we say, chaser in the game, probably. Really, really loves chase home. So Derby's Delight will be there till the dying death of the last breath of whichever Greyhound gets home first. But for me, after 4 being withdrawn, Forest Icon is an absolute nailed-on bet. You can get 7-4, I think now. The draw is ridiculous. Gets away well. Lasts the trip. Nothing gets near it. That wins. And then play what you want behind it. Maybe 6-1-3, 6-3-1. But I'm massively with trap 6, Forest Icon.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, look, it goes against all my instincts, but I actually fancy Derby's Light in this heat, which is not really a thing I do, considering, yeah, he's an absolute character, and it's not my thing to go for that type. But I actually think this race is somehow made for him. It's crazy to say, but it is. 2 is ridiculous early pace, and it's going to be out and gone. And as well, she says, it doesn't get home in the back of a taxi. It collapses after about 450 yards. It's going to Derby's Light. 2 should lead 1, not 2. 2 will lead 1. Derby's Light will lead 3, and Derby's Light is going to get a clean run on the rail. And at that stage, you kind of go, 2's probably going to be in front, 6 is probably challenging next. If Derby's Light is in the frame, I don't care what it is in front of him, he can probably pick up anything. But 7-2, 4-1, he probably is his price. I actually don't know what it is, probably 7-2 or 4-1.
Yeah.
Decent value.
Agree.
I think he's decent value. I think 2 is going to give him a clear path. He's probably a moral to lead 3, who hasn't ran in same as the other Savannah dogs. A lot of them hasn't ran in months. Derby's Light could probably find himself second or third out of second bend. And if that's the case, he's in the race no matter what you do, no matter how far he is away. He's always hanging around. So yeah, I actually think he's a big player in this race, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'll go for Derby's Light. Against every instinct in my body, I'm going for Derby's Light in this heat.
Right, moving on to Heat 18, we've got Brookside Richard in 1, Lanconquistador in 2, Hot Throttle in 3, Droopy's Gravy in 4, Comanche in 5, and in 6, Dean Ridge Skippy. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
It's a weird one, this, right? Because normally I try and get like short price things beat, but I mean, Richie at like even money 5-4, what he's been in the week. Jeez. I don't understand what the 2 has done to be so close to him in terms of he's got like a very average sort of Irish card and things like, the 3's got a bit of early pace, but the 4 for me should be probably like battling for second in. Probably a bit biased because he's like one of the kennel dogs, but again, he's made an Irish Derby quarter final. He's a bit chasey. I know he's coming in a bit undercooked, but yeah, for me, like I'd really want to be with Brookside Rich. I think even money 5-4, sort of 4-5 is. I think he should be a 2's on poke, and I think he's going to lead Holler. And I think that'll be that. And, I think then you're looking at like what's going to chase him down, the 2 or the 4, and I don't think they're the types to chase him down, being honest. Richie's a 29-10, 29-15 dog round toaster every day of the week. And then, like I said, you don't back run these type of dogs. So I'd be interested in Droopy's Gravy in the top 3 market. 5 and 6 aren't really class. 3's not going to lead. I don't think he's that type of dog to keep chasing. So yeah, for me, I'd be like 1-3. 1-4, and that'd be my type of bet. But I think Richie will win. I think he's one of the better bets of the round. So sort of 1-2, I made him, and you can bet, more sort of even money. So yeah, I'd be with Brookside Richie, and I'm hoping Gravy gets a qualifying place in the top 3. So yeah, Richie for me. I don't understand the 2.
Cheers, dog guesser. Welshie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, sorry, unimaginative, but I agree completely with dog guesser. As long as he gets out of 1, how can you see past Richie? He's running very well at the minute. He ran well around Newcastle. He's ran well in his trials around Toaster. He's getting stronger, I think, as he gets older. I can't see past him here, to be honest. No, looking at the competition, no offense against Connections, but I just can't see him getting beat here. Simple. I'm sorry. Trap 1, Brookside Richie.
Bomber, how far does Brookside Richie win?
Easy enough for me as well. Look, there's no point of reinventing the wheel. Like, look, I agree with Dog Esther. Like, I wouldn't be huge, like, want to be back in favourites and all this crack. But then there's just favourites where you go, like, that is value. 4-5 is value on Brookside Richie. I don't care what anyone says. It's like if you're looking to try and get him beat, I don't think you can. I 100% agree with Craig. I think 2 is an outrageously close price to him on no merit of doing so. I think it's a Patrick Janssen dog in the Derby, and the bookmakers are going 2-1. Do you know, that kind of way? Without any kind of thought behind it. Brookside Ritchie has rammed the best in the UK. He's beaten the best. Got the trophy he probably deserved Newcastle a couple of months ago. Absolute top class dog. Like, I can't see him. Something has to go wrong for him. I can't even make a case for the rest of them, especially in the betting. 2 is his closest rival. He is absolutely nothing on his card for me to threaten Brooks or Ritchie. I don't know what any point in the race he can beat him. 407 split. It's great. If he does it, Brooks or Ritchie just going to run past him on the inside for me. I can't get away from him. I think he is a value bet at 4-5, in my opinion. So yeah, look, Brooks or Ritchie for me.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 19. We've got Jack Tavern Bella in 1, Brinkley's Magic in 2, Barefoot Supremo in 3, Thunder Black in 4, Distant Brian in 5, and Jack Tavern Super in 6. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Being honest, mate, I thought this was one of the harder heats to really judge. I have Bella favourite. The 2 is a real coward at the bends when there's anything there or anything near it. Honestly, it's like, I mean, the Brinkley's dog is like, he's done 28-10 round Shelburne or something daft. He's done 28-18 round Newcastle. Obviously, very fast dog, but just a complete and utter pussy at the bends. Doesn't want to know when dogs are around it. The Jack Tavern Bella dogs are going to move off on it. So I don't know how the Magic dog's going to respond to that. Supremo's going to move in. If I had to bet anything in this heat, it would probably be Distant Brian, who's got some nice A1 form round Sheffield. An all right draw, but again, it wouldn't be a race I'd want to really bet, if I'm being perfectly honest. There's some fast dogs on the inside, and if one of them just escaped, I think they'd win. But yeah, I think on the draw, I just want to be with Distant Brian, but I couldn't really have a bet here with confidence because I think we're all the same type of dogs. So yeah, Distant Brian if I had to pick something.
Cheers, mate. Well shaped.
Yeah, similar in the sense that I don't think it's a betting heat, to be honest. 4 has run well at Tove. At Hope occasionally, but nothing. It doesn't like try to get away from dogs. Just does enough to get home. This is a different track. This Toaster, you have to be something special to get away from dogs. I agree. Distant Brian could do it. Barefoot Supremo is a great stayer and will be there till the death. But sorry, I agree with Dog Gasser in the sense of 2 can get away quickly, but I don't trust the dog enough to be back in it. My bet, if I was forced to bet on something in this heat, is Trap 1, Jack Tavern Bella. She is the class of the race. If you look at her Shelburne form, she will get home. She will lash it home. But my sole concern about the bitch is that she maybe went slightly further than 500 meters, but I think she'll get home over 500 every week, and I think she may possibly be one of the surprise bitches of the whole derby, in the sense that if you're backing her for top bitch or each way, to be honest, I wouldn't 50s now. But she was available at like 100 and something prior to the Derby kicking off. I think 125, 150 to 1 maybe, and you were getting cracking value there. I'd have been happy to play if you were to tell me 150 to 1, for instance. I'd have been all over that. But I will back her to qualify every day of the week. So I'm going to go with 1, just maybe about to win. But if you're telling me which dog do I think will qualify and finish 1, 2, 3, I'm all over Trap One. She is a monster, and I think we'll do enough here in this heat to maybe win it, but certainly to place anyway.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, tough heat. Jack Tavern Bella, she's a six-bend bitch, to be honest with you. She's really a six-bend bitch. She's ran mostly six-bends in Ireland. Showed massive pace in them. I know she cost quite a lot as a young pup. Did some very fast solo trials and then was bought. And yeah, she ran well in Understaking Clonmel and then went on from there. Her and Pablo Escobar were dominating the six-bend scene in Ireland between the two of them, which wasn't heavily stacked, but they were very, very impressive, the two of them, when they went head-to-head a few times. She went into four-bend. She ran into Sarah to Mullingar, which is a 600-yard trip, which suited her. Like she is a 750 bitch, but she's one that kind of does it in the four bends in the six bend, if you get what I mean. She ran well in Mullingar. I think she was second, and she was runner up in Sarah Chaw, right? Ran very well and it did a huge run in the first couple of rounds. Mullingar was attractive would suit her. She then, I was surprised to see her run in the English Derby, to be honest with you. I know Holland goes over at dogs, but the lads, to be fair, Noel Byrne and Larry O'Shea, and that they're sporting. Like, I'm sure if Holland was going over, they don't mind. They're very realistic owners. They said everything that she does in the Derby is a bonus, and their aim is the six bend race and Derby Fall Night with her. You know, get her a few looks around. They'd really fancy her in that. My problem with her is, I was shocked with like how she ran the first few nights. Now she was in lesser grade, but she was in the 3 and 4 box. See, she's an absolute ping breaker, but she doesn't have the pickup to go into the corner. She can get easily swamped by dogs with any early pace. I feel like she's a sitting duck into the bend, and then from the third bend home, as well, she said she's probably going to be one of the best maybe in the competition for the third bend home. My problem is, even if she comes away, she, like, the worst thing for her is if two dogs come alongside her and get in front of her and she kind of falls back in the field. Because she's a rocket breaker, but just doesn't have that kick into the bend for me. Now, as the lad said, does two have the determination to run by her and kick on? I don't know. He's seems to be a soft enough dog, very hard to work out. But as the lad said, he's very quick. Barefoot Supremo is a typical Hennessy dog. Poor win record, but an absolute airplane. Now he's running with the best to be fair of him. But like his last two trials, now he ran well on Toaster last year. Do you remember? He picked up, the bubbly dog in the first round from an absolute mile behind. So he knows Toaster. He's able to run Toaster from behind. An absolute machine. But he's just typical Hennessy dog that he'll probably start to fly in the Derby, that kind of way. Could see him do well in the English Derby again to keep qualifying. He was lucky to go out last year. I agree with the lads. I think 5 with a great draw. That if I would take the chance that one might not break as well from trap one, and she could get swamped early pace, she could find herself near the back of the field. If 5 got away on the rest of them, he could be value at the prices he's at. But I'd probably go for 5 in the draw. If I was going to give someone a bet, I'd take on the top in this race, especially if she's around 7-4, 2-1, which is my guess. I haven't looked at betting, lads. If she's around 7-4, 2-1, I'd take her on. She's just not a 7-4 favorite for me. I think you're looking at maybe just a bit of illusion in those trial stakes of maybe she was getting away. I thought especially in the last trial stake she ran in, she came out through the bars and you could just see she was lucky that she didn't get past at the second bend. And once she found herself clean, she was able to kick on and go away. But yeah, I would probably, if I was given a bet, I'd take on the top. yeah, that's what I go for. I'd lay the top. That's what I go for the right price at 7-4. I'd lay the top. I think she's worth taking on. To be honest with you, because it's an open enough race and there's a few that can win this. So yeah, that's what I go for anyway.
Cheers, mate. Moving on to Heat 20. We've got Bocco's Lear in 1, Banjo Lad in 2, Slick Saratoga in 3, Eze in 4, Ballymac Marino in 5, and in 6, Ballymac John Joe. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I'm massively with Ballymac Marino. I mean, the 7-4, I think it's almost inverted. I think it should be more 4-7, 4-6. Bocco's Lear has been running sort of 7-14 Crayford. I know it was a really good bitch in Ireland, but under Kevin Boone, it's not been the same. Banjo Lad, you could argue an A2 dog toaster, strange entry. Slick Saratoga, another one for Janssens, and people sort of overestimate for me the Patrick Janssens trained runners because it's just trained by Patrick Janssens and that's it. Obviously, he's a good trainer, but he was criminally overrated going into the gym crack. Got knocked out, showed he was very green and didn't really have a clue what he was doing. Since then, he's not really had a race. He just sort of trialed. So for me, he's had no opportunity to learn. I'd make it between the 5 and 6. And if I'm being honest, I really like the 5. I think the 5's a dog that should be odds on in this type of a heat. And 7-4, 11-8. I think come the night, I think he'll be 4-5, 4-6. So yeah, I'll bet Ballymac Marino. I think he's one of the best bets of the round. And yeah, Marino for me. Can't see much getting him beat, to be honest.
Cheers, mate. Welshie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, sorry, Davey, but unimaginative, but I agree with Dog Guesser. I think 5 is a nailed-on bet in this round. I personally backed Ballymac John Joe in the Brown Limerick and the Conor Annie Kirby stake, and I thought he had a great chance. I think I bet him at 25-1, something like that, but he just didn't. He didn't suit the track. He didn't get on well around there. Limerick is a very different track to Toaster. The nearest track I would say to Toaster is probably Shelburne. Ballymac John Joe ran very well around there. I can't remember now. The lads will probably tell me better, but it was either an Irish Derby final night or it was Night of Stars, but he ran an absolute belt around that track. He came from off the pace. I think he trapped last and came second, and he looked like a monster of a dog. And I thought, well, that's one I want to be on round Toaster. But then I subsequently saw the Limerick runs, and I thought, well, I don't know, is he a bit gutless? Does he really want to win it? And that for me means Ballymac Marino is nailed on bet. He's a cracking dog, gets off the front, wants to win. I would probably be on 5 and hoping 6 rattles home late for a forecast maybe, but I can't see how 6 beats 5. So I agree. I'm with Dog Gasser. I fancy 5 heavily. Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything as well. Ballymac Marino is the Juvenile Classic winner. He is an absolute machine. Came up to Shelburne and won a very, very hot 550 race, and he impressed a lot of people in Shelburne. A lot of people thought, look, this is winning the Juvenile Classic. As I said earlier, it's the best unraced stake by so far. You see the superstars come out every year. There's never an exception to the year. Like, all this crop was disappointing. Every year, the best pups in Ireland, not all of them obviously, but a lot of them will come from the Juvenile Classic because they're kept for it. Ballymac Marino went in and won it. Simple as that. Came into Shelburne, won that 550, massively impressive. You look at dogs in the race, I'd say CryptoPunk, them types. People thought this is the dog for the year. You might have just seen the Futures Derby winner run here. I was shocked when they put him to a 575 a few weeks later. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was crazy. I'm not trying to question Downs. They know a lot more than me about dogs, but I couldn't believe they went so quick for that trip. He's a Vulturi. They're usually strong runners. He comes from the lad we slagging. He comes from a course in Dam Line, believe it or not. And Vulturi put stamina into that line, and it's just worked out. The 575. I just was shocked because it's like a lot of the Vulturis, they don't want the huge run to the corner. That could be his Achilles heel and Toaster. It's funny, they actually prefer the shorter run to the bend because they're nearly with the dogs early on and they're able to kick on, where the longer run can leave them behind. And that's what happened to him in the 575 that night. Just in with more experienced dogs with a longer run to the bend was a ridiculously short price and got bait. But I wouldn't condemn him on it. He's a young dog. But yeah, look, he's definitely down in the number one dogs, Ballymac Finn. He's been there, done that. Derby foot runner up. Ballymac Marino is definitely his second option. Like he's his most, I'd say from personal perspective, he is going in. These are my two dogs to the Derby, Ballymac Marino and Ballymac Finn. I've got the proven article and I've got the prospect and Ballymac Marino. It just all depends how he handles Toaster. If he doesn't run well on Toaster, it doesn't mean he can't come to Shelburne and win the Derby or go close to win the Derby this year. But yeah, I just think in this heat, I just think he's a lot will have to go wrong from Ballymac John Joe as well. She was saying very, very fast in the solo. He actually he's really good with a longer run to the corner. Every time he's got a long run to bend, the 575, or even like a couple solo sprints, he does very fast sprints because he's just fast on straights. From if he gets an ease and grade with early pace, he can be a force. But I just don't know if this is his track. It might get the best out of him, but yeah, he's well able to do huge runs. I don't think it's the fact he's got. I just think he's just such a bad breaker. He makes himself have to do so much. Like the night I remember the night well she's talking about in Shelburne. I think it was coming for cake steak or something. He absolutely walked out and the pace show. I remember all of us were just going, geez, that's have shown some pace. He was only a young pup at the time, but the problem was that's always his break. It didn't change. He wasn't a pup that was novice and proved his break, and he's just the same dog. But yeah, he's well able to. He'll be well able to go close to break in 29 seconds in a solo. My problem is he'll have to pass a lot of dogs to do it. But yeah, look, Ballymac Marino's dog to pick in this race. I don't know what price he is. I didn't hear the lad say what price he was, but
7-4.
7-4, unbelievable, great price.
Right, cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 21. We've got Boyle Sports Gift in 1, Gaytime Nemo in 2, Ballin Nulty Fire in 3, Bombay the Best in 4, Sogna in Grande 5, and Loggies Buddy in 6. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Bit of a strange one, this, because I've watched Boyle Sports Gift go around twice, and he just looks all legs, honestly. Obviously got a lot of pace. I can't explain it. Like every time I've seen the trial, I just kind of gone like, oh, he's not done a run there. And the first time I think he did 29:30, the second time 29:60 odd. And I've been very, very unimpressed by him. And I've expected him to be, like a real fast dog. Bombay the Best can run. The 5 has been sort of A1 Island. 6 is an A1 minor open dog. 3 has pace and it'll probably edge in a little bit, and it's an A1 toaster dog. But I like Gaytime Nemo. I spoke to Dylan in the week. He does not like this dog at all. I think he had it third in. But I disagree with him for once. Yeah, I think he's the dog to beat in this heat. The one for me just looks like really leggy round this place. He just doesn't look like he's going to suit the place at all. It looks like almost Bambi on ice. Like I say, I could be wrong, but everything I've seen to the eye, I would want to be with Gaytime Nemo, and I probably between 1 and 4 for the places, but everything else is probably a little bit behind them. But yeah, for me, Gaytime Nemo will be the dog.
Welshie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I could literally echo Doug Guess's comments on this in the sense that 3 edges in, one edge is in, 2 gets a horrific draw, but I'm hoping he cheats it. And at 80 to 1, I think he's the most ridiculous price. All right, not the most ridiculous price because CryptoPunk hundreds is the most ridiculous, but at 80s, I think Gaytime Nemo is a really good bet. 80s anti-post. Don't understand. I really don't understand that anti-post price. He's finished close behind some very, very, very good dogs in Ireland. I mean, the top dogs in Ireland. And how you can have a dog at 80 to 1 and then you have some English dogs at 25s, 30s, 33s, 40s that are not even in the same league as runs as this dog has done. I think you get massive value there. I agree with Dog Gasser in the sense that he's got a bit to do here in the sense that he's badly drawn, but I'm just hoping he cheats the draw and away he goes and wins the heat. And if not, if he qualifies and I've got an 80 to 1 runner in the second round, happy days.
Good luck, mate. Bomber, what are you thinking?
Yeah, look, I fancy ball sports here. I think probably the Barefoot Supremo dog is probably Hennessy's most veteran dog gone over and like he's very fast. This is potentially Hennessy's best dog, probably. Has some very fast runs, just lacks the stamina, but Toaster, he might just get away with it if he puts enough early on. The Gaytime dog is very funny as well. I agree with Craig. I think he's very quick. I understand what Dylan's coming from. I know exactly what he'd say about him. My one concern, and especially for the first round, is that Graham Holland gave this dog a sprint trial. And that's not something that he does. He's coming over at runners for Derby trials. He gave this dog a sprint for a reason. He's either very undercooked, had an issue, is only coming back. Like he still has to have a 4-bound trial in Toaster. Don't know if it's the night to go from personally. I'd probably take him on. I'd go for Hennessy's in the top. He's had 2 4-bound trials there. I'd just be worried about 2. Yeah, it's just not something I've ever seen Graham Holland do with them. Giving them a sprint had to be a reason. Either had an issue, got a hold up. He's been off track for a bit. Maybe it was a rush job to get into Derby, hoping he could qualify and improve. Yeah, I would take him on the first. I go for ball sports in this one. To be fair to the 5, all their dogs ran well. Beeper's Lariat and then the Sport and Dog early on. They went over 3 dogs, and I was saying earlier, I thought they went with Beeper's Lariat and then kind of threw 2 in the van because you were going over. And to be fair, all 3 of them ran well. He wasn't disgraced last week, betting a good time. You can't complain. The top actually bet him in the race in Limerick, funny enough. But yeah, no, I think the top could be a bit of a springer. He'll shock a few, maybe in the Derby. But yeah, like Hennessy's bringing a couple of dogs over, and this dog is potentially Hennessy's best one. I'd say Barefoot is obviously the most proven, gone over. But yeah, I think this could maybe just give a good showing. And Hennessy's dogs always run well in the Derby. So yeah, no, I go for ball sports.
Here's Bomber. Moving on to Saturday evening, Heat 22. We've got Clondon Flash Ballymac Joey, Lataro, Ivan Exile, Rooftop Von, Hopes, Woof Woof. Dog guesser, what do you fancy? You're on mute, mate.
I know from pillar to post is a very fast dog, but I mean, Jesus, I mean, some of the 4 to 11 quotes about him in the heat is.
Mate, I think you're on the
You're
wrong
on the
race.
wrong heat again, yeah.
Oh yeah,
We're
sorry.
on the Lataro race.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, sorry. Jeez, there's so many. Yeah, I sort of made this heat like a quite tough. Obviously by like Joey, Toro, Ivan Exile, who I think won the Laurels last year, maybe. Four's got a lot of pace. Three obviously broke the track record at Tulsa last year. The six can run as well. This was one of them races I didn't really want to get involved in. If I had to pick something at the prices, I think the 11 to 2, 5 to 1 about Ivan Exile I thought was a bit big. Matt Donald knows one end of the lead from another. The dog's not quite been on the same form as he was last year, but it looks a chance that, there's not a lot of early pace in this race. So, yeah, I thought he might be able to get a soft lead and sort of get off the front. So, if I had to bet anything here, I'd probably go the Exile dog at, sort of 5 to 1 plus. I made him joint favourite.
Well, Shea, what are you thinking?
I'm massively against Ivan XL, to be honest. If you look past Puppy Cup kind of form, I don't think he's ran very well since Perry Bar. When he last ran around there, he flew past Bambi's Magic in. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, but I think it was the final, and he ran unbelievably well in that comp. I think Craig's right. I think it was the Laurels actually, not Puppy Cup. He ran nicely, but since then I don't think he's lifted a leg really, from memory anyway. I think Host Woof Woof is good round one more, but again, not been great for some time. And originally, when Woof Woof was running around one more, I thought that was a genuine derby contender. From the English side, I thought this one was going to be something special, but hasn't reproduced that kind of expectation. I can't see past Latoro. I think if you get a decent break out of 3, it's in the ping box. If you look at Toaster's record over the last 12 months, you want to be in 3 or 4, and I'm with Latoro here. I know I'm siding with the favourite, but I can't see past trap 3. Latoro far for a reason.
Cheers, mate. Bomber.
Yeah, I actually agree with Welsh 100%. Ivan Exile, bit disappointing since he's come back from his layoff. Now he ran reasonably well the first day in Perry Bar, but yeah, just for me, 29.80 trial. It's like nowadays around Toaster, talk about dogs who can go 80 spots quicker. It's just a reality. He obviously folded in the trial after the good split, whatever 4:15, but. Yeah, I couldn't be with him. I think Lataro for what he has done, but previously his trials, like he'd have to do a lot wrong to get himself beaten this. I could see Ivan Exile even coming away well and just moving off, and Lataro could just get a dream run. Ballymac Joey from an Irish perspective is very fast, but he's never had a good win record. Now, to be fair, look when you look at his races, what he's been running with. Gave, I think it was Mustang Jet Scare one night in the Ledger, I remember, came on a run, but I thought you should have probably picked him up, considering Mustang Jet's not a strong stayer. Not one for me. He's going to probably be short, and he should be Ballymac Joey. He just looked very fast dog, but just hasn't done anything over here to suggest he should probably beat a dog like Lataro, who's probably one of the UK's fastest. But I will say one thing about Lataro. He disappointed me in a few runs. I thought he had better form going into last year's Derby than perhaps he did going into this year's Derby. Like, he looked like a real top prospect heading into last year. Now he's kind of a dog. Yes, you're able to run, but he's got himself bet by dogs you probably shouldn't have got bet on a few occasions. Hard enough dog to work out. But I do agree with Welshie. I think like it's very hard to see past him. And yes, he's favourite, but he's not a stupid price. Like, I think it's probably like the best value you get on him in a race that he can win. I think if this was like on a Sunday meeting in Toaster away from the Derby, like next week, if he wins this race, he's probably even money, 5-4. It just depends on what Ivan Exar runs, really. It looks between the two of them. But I take Lataro. I think Lataro can beat Ivan Exile even if they're both right. He can beat him. I'm not saying he would always beat him, but he can beat him. And the fact that Ivan Exile has a few question marks about him, yeah, I take him on. So yeah, I think I go for Lataro as well in this one.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 23. We've got Savannah Bailey in 1, Droopy's Clue in 2, Beeper's Lariat in 3, Fernandez in 4, Newin Ranger in 5, and in 6 from Post to Pillar. Dog guesser, what do you fancy? Loves the mute button.
He loves the mute button, yeah. Keep it on him.
Must have gone for a slash, surely. Oh, here he is.
Yeah, go on. I'll move it all now. Yeah, I want to take on Poster Pillory. I mean, like, it's 4-11 in places. Like, I think that's just. I think it's crazy short. He's a dog that you've seen from his trials. He wants to move in from 6. He's got pace in 4 and 5. 3's probably going to lead. The 2 can definitely run. I mean, I know James has put him up at like sort of 8-11, and I'd be more probably even money him, to be honest, if I was being genuine. I can't have the 4-11, 2-5, 4-9 sort of price mark. He's a very, very, very fast dog. He handles top 6 most places he goes. I don't think he'll do that at Toaster. Toaster's one of them places like Sheffield where it drags you onto the rail. It's very hard to run. If you're a wide runner, you tend to tuck in a little bit more. And he's got enough headaches inside him for me. So, look, I'd want to lay the absolute shit out of him, if I'm being honest. Anything sort of 1-2, 4-6, I'd be happy to really, really take him on. The Beepers dog missed a break and paced up greatly, as Gerard McGrath pointed out. Nobody else singing that, but you know, from pillar to post for me, just he has to get a bleaching in this round. If he turns 4th dog and he looks like a superstar, then fair enough, you know. But round Toaster, you don't get away with turning 3rd and 4th dog every week like Ballinabull Red did last year. And even then, it was kind of like a mystery. And then eventually, it became his undoing. So, yeah, I want to take on the Derby, probably the Derby favourite now. But for me, he shouldn't be the Derby favourite. And, yeah, I want to take him on. And I want to take him on with probably the Beepers dog in 3.
Welshie, what are you thinking, mate?
Christ, I'm gonna look like the dog guesser part 2, but I agree. This is one for the purists against maybe the casuals, in the sense that I think a lot of casuals will want to be with Trap 6 because they've seen the flashy trial, they've seen the flashy runs, but Toaster is Toaster. And I'm against from Poster Pillar every race. this one, the next one, if he gets through, the one after, I'm against him in every round up until the final. In the sense that there are a few reasons, in the sense that he's not the best of breakers. He's got fantastic early pace on occasion, but he's never broken well, really. I don't think you can get away with that at Toaster. So I'm happily against him as well. I think James Price is right, really, in the sense that he's gone the highest price possible, that people will still back him at 8 to 11. I think it's a good price to entice people in, especially when, as Craig said, you get in 1 to 2, 4 to 11. You're going to probably, if you're that way inclined, you're going to bet at 8 to 11. He can't win this race if it runs as it should do. I am with 3 as well. If you look at 3's last race, round Toaster, he's held off Warzone Tom, who's a very good dog. He has missed his break completely, but the pace he's shown to the bend is unbelievable. I agree. If you look at Twitter, for instance, you'll see Eddie Goodall has backed Trap 3 in the fastest sectional, and I don't disagree with that in any way. He was 80 to 1 fastest sectional. I think if you look at the run he did in the last race he undertook, 80 to 1 is massively missed the kick. If this dog traps, especially from the ping box in Trap 3, gets out, this dog has got crazy early pace and can fly up. And if you can get 8 to 1, if you're able to back this dog with Paddy Power or Sky Bet, get your pounds on this dog. 8 to 1 for a dog that, in my opinion, leads up in this race is crazy. So I'm massively on Trap 3.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, look, so 6 is Derby favourite. I agree with the lads in perspective of that. He's a very, very short Derby prize favourite. Away from the betting perspective, you have to look at 3 things. He's ran 3 competitions. He's won all 3 of them. Like, I'll give the dog credit. He's a superstar dog. I think a lot of lads, I get 100% what the lads talking about in terms of price and everything, ridiculously short, and these 4 to 11s. It's crazy stuff. From taken away from a betting perspective, this is a superstar Greyhound. There's no point of pretending otherwise. Lads will run him down for the fact that how short he is and all this crack. I think that's wrong in a sense. He backed up at trials. Swords Rex post track record. He came in a trial session after. Lads are going, track's quicker, this and that. Still went quicker than him. Still a feat to do. Don't care what anyone says. You still have to go do the numbers. Backed up another 28.60 trial Toaster. Like, you can all pretend that this dog, this and that, but he's an absolute machine. Like, will I be back on the 4th 11? Absolutely not. I can 100% see what the lads are talking about. But I think that is something that happens when he's in with your Clona Dukes, Ballymac Finns, top dogs. He has his Achilles heel. He can't do it again, them dogs. He can't beat those dogs doing what he'd be doing. This is not against them. Beepers Larry is the best dog in this heat. Next best to him by a mile. Very promising pup. He's owned by Leonard O'Hanlon, who lives close enough to me. I remember I had heard when he was 15 months old, that qualifying trial in Newbury, he did 17.50. They thought he was a really good dog. Sent him down the country, ran the Juvenile Classic, won a couple of rounds, first 2 rounds, I think. Won a couple of rounds of the Kirby. He ran the 5.50 against Romeo Magico and Bobsleigh Dream. Trapped out. That was the best he ever trapped. Led Romeo Magico. He held off Romeo Magico to about heading into the third bend. Romeo Magico was kind of lining him up to go by him. But that's the Romeo Magico we're talking about. And then Bobsleigh clipped his legs and the 2 of them kind of were out the race then. I thought he was very impressive last week from Trap 1, as Doug Esser was slagging there. Like, didn't come out, show great guts at the bend to get through and won the race and held off Warzone Tom. He's a genuine dog. I like him a lot. I do think he's well able to do 29.05, that type of run. But the front pillar of the post finds himself within 2 lengths from around the second bend or that. He's going to beat him, lads. There's no point, like I'm saying. He will beat him if he gets a run. Will I be back in front pillar of the post? No. But if, like, there's no point in running him down for the sake of it as well. Like, if he's up with Beeper's Lariat, he should beat him. But you're back in Beeper. I get the lads back in Beeper's Lariat on the prices, and if front pillar of the post doesn't come out and he's out and gone, it's toasters, lads say. But if this was Shelburne Park or whatever, there's only one winner here. But the lads are hoping the lads are basing it on the track that'll beat them. But look, I will go with from pillar post on selection. Will be back with that price? No, I do like Beeper's Lariat. I hope he runs well for Leonard Hanlon, and the trainer. But like if from pillar post does his thing, he'll win. There's no like, and the lads say it's a 6-week competition. If you're laying them anti-post, like you've more runs to get him beat, and I agree he will probably get bet in runs when he's in with the better type of dogs. This isn't that race for me. This is the race where he looks like he wins and he looks like the dog that he's on his anti-post betting. I just don't see it. Like I just don't see like Fernandez, Brendan Match coming over, another one of their dogs that hasn't ran one race in like 5 months, whatever. He's non-entity for me in this race. The top is what an unraced pup. Like Fabrizio Post has to literally fall over to not get a run of this. Like I think if he gets a clean run with Beeper's Lariat, Beeper's Lariat will hold him off. Just for me, there's no reason to suggest he will. And that's just my opinion. I just think there's no point to run down a superstar dog for the sake of it. But from a betting perspective, it's just stay away territory.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 24, we've got Droopy's Fidget in 1, Tullig Raven in 2, Cochise in 3, Foster's Fella in 4, Clongale Aussie has been withdrawn, so that won't be running, and Burj Khalifa in 6. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
To be honest, mate, here I made it a match between 1 and 2. They're kind of drawn a little bit the wrong way around, if I'm being honest. I really rate Dolores Ruth as a trainer, but Tully Raven hasn't done a lot since it switched, being fair to it. Like I say, I thought it was a match. I'm probably not going to bet the race. It's one of them races that I think just will be an inch or two, maybe Fidget just a favourite. I probably just favoured the Tullig Raven dog. Yeah, after that, there's no real shock value in the race between 1 and 2. If I had to pick something, I'd probably just go the Raven dog. And yeah, that'd be it for me. There's no real view on the race, to be honest.
Cheers, mate. Welshie?
4 has got a bit of pace. 6 has got a clear run with a good draw. Cochise in 3, it's a good dog for the Reese Kennel. When I first saw Cochise run, it was around Monmore, and I thought that this is a hell of a dog, and I thought this was going to come on massively for a derby, but since not quite that caliber, but has ran well at Round Hove, big competitions. I can't remember which competition it won, but if I remember rightly, it won a competition Round Hove, which I was at the tracks, so quite embarrassing that I should remember what it was. But I think the class is in 2 and 1. Nathan's runner in Trap 1 she's proven to be a bit of a class act, and is a very good runner. She sticks to the rail and has got every chance. But I just think off experience, Trap 2, Tullig Raven ran very well in Irish Derby competition. Can get across Fidget and lead up. And I think if Trap 2 leads this race, it's game over. I don't think anything can catch it. So I'm with Telegraven as well.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, so Tullagraven is a very interesting runner. I didn't know he moved kennel until a couple of weeks ago, until he ran the trial sticks. I seen he was in the Dolores Fritz now, to be honest with you, because obviously he was with Pat Buckley before. And he's obviously only a recent addition to Dolores Fritz kennel, so she hasn't actually had him that long. And to be fair, you could probably maybe factor that in his trials. Maybe he's had with her, maybe he's only settled in. Some dogs take time. But prior to that, he is a funny dog. He did a ridiculously fast debut. I think it was the track record Tralee did in his debut or something. It was crazy stuff, or equaled it, or went close to anyway. Then kind of went on a poor run, let's say, went up in grade, struggled to win. And then there was one night in the Derby, he just took off, did a huge run. And yeah, like he's just look, he has the legs to do it, but like he's one of them dogs. It won't shock me if he does it, but then I'll be shocked. I won't be shocked if he does it, and I'll be shocked if he does it. Does that make sense? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
No,
but
does it, fuck?
But I'm just saying, like, he's just that type of dog. I agree with Welsh. Drewby's Fidget has proven now to be a classy sort. Did a huge run and got bet in a few races where I kind of thought maybe you shouldn't have got bet in that in Monmore after the huge 27.90 run. But to be fair, afterwards has proven to be a classy sort. So like you can't really falter. Burj Khalifa is an interesting runner. He was trained by Brendan Matthews and then went over for the English Puppy Derby, and then he got to the final. I think he got in on the traps failed and it was like a lucky dip or something. He went into it unraced, and then he came back and he was sold. And he was actually trained by a fellow that only lives down the road from me, but 10 minutes down the road from me. And he did he did 28.42 in Shelburne one night, but he ran a couple of rounds in the Kirby and stuff. But sure, he's a big dog. He's like 85, 86 pound. Like, he's a huge track dog. Can't really run the bends that well. Not a great breaker. Has good pickup into the corner, all right. And he's comes home reasonably well. I wouldn't say he's the strongest there. But yeah, he's back with Brendan Matthews. I think they were just looking for runners in the Derby. So I think he's gone with them for the competition. But yeah, so to be honest with you, it's very hard to get away from Troopy's Fidget. To be honest with you, I agree with Welsh. I think it's hard to look past, to be honest with you.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 25. We've got Who Needs Wings in 1, Romeo Command in 2, Mr. Chelm in 3, Milton Noah in 4, Miami Patrol in 5, Doghouse Dazzler in 6. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I am with Mr. Chelm, formerly known as Kildare, who won the Irish Derby Plate. A runner-up in the Derby last year, I think he was. I know he's not been the same dog since he's been in the UK. There's not going to be no bullshit about it. But Romeo Command is one of the most criminally overrated dogs you'll find. He's turned second behind Arcady in the Puppy Derby. In the Juvenile. And literally couldn't do anything with him. Couldn't get to him. Couldn't get anywhere near. He is not going to lead Mr. Chelm. End of story. For me, there's no overrunners. Command will probably turn second. And I just think Mr. Chelm will go and win the race, and that'll be that. I think he's something like 3-1, 7-2, 4-1 in places. Everyone's got it's kind of like 1-4, 4-1 as a match. And I think it's just crazy. I really do. I think the prices are wrong. I'd be happy to take my chances at sort of 11-4, 5-2 plus on Kildare. I know he's a bit short of work. I know he's a bit short of a run. But again, Romeo Command's not a dog who really does it when he's in behind dogs. So, yeah. Mr. Chelm for me, I think he'd be one of the better bets on the Saturday, especially at the prices. And he's got one dog to beat.
Cheers, dog guesser. Welshie, what do you fancy?
You're on mute.
Mute.
Yes, I am. Sorry. Similar thoughts in the sense it's a match race. 5 was an interesting runner. Originally, we thought, well, let's see what it can do. Ran very well in Ireland, but hasn't really produced much round Toaster. Has been with Patrick Janssen since, and if you look at his trials, it's just not quite done what was maybe expected of the buyers for that dog. So I agree with Craig in the sense that it's a 2-dog race. Mr. Chelm, aka Kildare, against Romeo Command. But I'm of a different thinking. I think Kildare maybe traps out, and it's a maybe traps out in front. But that dog has gone so far backwards in 12 months. I thought this dog was going to be favourite for maybe the English Derby, maybe the Irish, but certainly the English Derby this year, based on last year's run. If we go back 12 months, I thought this dog looked something different, an absolute animal. I didn't think many dogs would beat it for this title, but it's a different dog. It's not done anything. And no offense to the owner, and I'm sure he'll agree, but it's just not the same dog as it was 12 months ago. You had Kildare lining up in a final of an English Derby, and I think it was probably favourite. I might be wrong. So, correct me if I'm wrong, lads, but I think it went off favourite in the final, or certainly one of the favourites prior to the race.
Yeah, he was favourite.
And rightfully so. He looked an absolute beast, but he's done nothing since. So for me, I fancy maybe Kildare, aka Mr. Chelm, to break well, but I think Romeo Command will come through and do what he's done and just pick the race up and win it. To be honest, he's a very good, strong dog. I agree with Craig in the sense that he's a bit overrated. He shouldn't be the price he is to win the competition, but in this type of race, I think he'll pick up the pieces and just go and win it, to be honest. Yeah.
Bomber, what are you thinking?
Yeah, look, I agree basically what the two lads said for the most part. My one issue with Kildare is, look, the lad said, he's not the dog he was. Like, when he went into the Derby last year, he went into the Kirby unraced, won the semi-final the fastest time, got to the final. He went into the English Derby, ran up the English Derby, then went to the Irish Derby, was desperate and lucky the night he went out, went into the play, and he was just absolutely burning them up in the play. Huge runs. Now, I couldn't believe when he was sold. Like, I actually thought, like someone that us, they said Kildare sold, and I was going, the Comerfords, not a chance they sell him. Like, they're looking for that type of dog, like, you know, they'd be well off, and they had Susie Sapphire and then types, like, that's the type of greyhound they want. And I couldn't believe when they sold him. To be honest with you, it's not like they'd need the price that was obviously that they got from, but they obviously thought it was value. Maybe they thought that was him. He had a lot of running as a young dog. Maybe they didn't expect him to come back a better dog, but or even the same dog. My problem with Kildare was, even when he was at his peak, this track stretched him big time. Like, I mean, he used to just fold. Like, he gets the home straight, and like, as soon as he hit the line, 4 dogs would pass him. He used to just, like, you nearly like think he was cramping up. Now he's 40 spots worse, and he's doing the same. And now he's going into a race where he hasn't had a run since January. He is going to absolutely fall over in the home straight in this race. It doesn't matter. Like, I was just trying to say, about lads talk about, oh, like, he could get in front of Romeo Command. Kildare would just, like, he would just fall over in front of you in the home straight. Like, he'd have to be a mile in front and trouble him behind. But other than that, something should pick him up, because he's just going to be a sitting duck in the home straight for me. Trials are exactly what I expect him. 29.70, 29.80. They gave 30 slow, whatever. And nowadays around Tulsa, lads forget there's dogs doing 28.60 in trials, lads. The days of the 29.50s are over. So for me, if Kildare had any bit of form, I'd happily bet him out. Like Romeo Command is the lad. I agree with the lads. Very probably overrated dog. Very fast dog. There's no point pretending he's great trials and everything, but he did it in a lot of no grade races. I wouldn't mind not picking up the Arcadian, the final of the juvenile. It's Tulsa, lads, home straight. You know yourself. It can be hard to pass. But yeah, look, Romeo Command should win. Am I going to back him? No. I'd probably pick Doghouse Dazzler as probably a bit of value in the race at a mad price. Could even back him to place or something, because I just expect Kildare to absolutely collapse in the home straight. I just can't see him sticking out the trip, especially off a long layoff. Even looking at his couple of races that he ran when he first went over to the UK, when he was running still reasonably well. Not the level he was, but he ran well. He was absolutely folding in the home straight, lads, like really bad. So yeah, I'll go for Doghouse Dazzler probably at a price, probably a crazy price. He should be probably 7 or 8 to 1. But yeah, I think he's probably a bit of value, so I'll go for him as my selection.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 26. Bubbly Apache in 1, Dealish Frankie in 2, Barley Panther in 3, Bocco's Palace in 4, Kaluki in 5, and I believe Highfield May has been withdrawn.
Mm-hmm.
Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I'm not sure how Bubbly Apache has gotten as a rail seed, being honest. I think it's a joke. I mean, Dealish Frankie connections must be a bit pissed off when that's going to move off on you. If I was going to bet anything in this heat, which I'm not, if I'm being honest, I would be with Bocco's Palace, just basically on the draw. Kaluki's slower than me. He's been off in, a long time. And Bubbly Apache's going to
could be the greatest insult of all time.
It is, though, isn't it? It is slow. It is very, very slow. Let's be honest. There's no hiding from it. The 6 is now and on running. Yeah, Bocco's Palace, for me. I'm probably not going to bet in the race. There's probably not going to be no value in the race, but I mean, how the red has been accepted as a rail is just a fucking joke. Just if anyone can explain it to me, I'd be more than happy. It moved off from 4 last year in the Derby. I watched it trial at Toaster, and yeah, you couldn't have it ever being a rail seed, but clearly the seeding panel know better than everybody else, and I think the insides could be a mess, and yeah, I'll be with Bocco's Palace.
Welshie, what are you thinking, mate?
I'm on 6% battery, lads, so I'm gonna. This might be my swan song, but I kind of agree with Craig in the sense that 1 doesn't want trap 1, which is perfect from a punting perspective because you want 1 to come across, which makes it difficult for 2 and 3. Kaluki, oh dear God, it's gone from the best puppy, probably the best puppy in the land, to one of the worst Derby dogs if you look at times and form, which is such a real shame. It used to be a really, really good dog. And that leaves Bocco's Palace at 5 to 1. I think it's a massive price. If you look at the 2 races it's ran recently around Toaster, just have a watch back of the videos. It doesn't need me to over analyze, but just watch them videos and you'll scratch your head as to how this dog is 5 to 1 to win this heat. Especially with 1 coming across, 2 not the fastest away, 3 you might get obstructed by 1. I'm all over 4, 5 to 1.
Cheers, mate. Bomber. Mute. Bomber.
No, Jesus. No, I'm slower than Craig. Yeah, look, Bubbly Apache is terribly drawn. Terribly seeded, sorry, it's the right way to say it. Same crack again, hasn't ran in a year. So like very hard to see how that's gonna run. Trials, okay, nothing special, but like if you're going into back a dog that hasn't ran in a year, best luck to you. Danish Frankie is getting a massive drop in grade, probably to what he's ran with. Bacchus Palace very fast, 4-starter though. Not really a toaster, suits toaster. I just think Danish Frankie, yeah, like he has to avoid the top, which is frustrating like that. He says connections if you had them. It's just your only concern is just him coming across you. Like if he was in 1 and probably Patches in 2, like James Frankie's an absolute moral, like. But that's what you have to try and compete with. That yeah, if there's trouble, 4 can pick up the pieces. I just go for James Frankie that he might be able to deal with it. A dog that hasn't ran, you just don't know what way he's going to run. Trials are trials, and races are races. Like if Danish Frankie comes away reasonably at all, like them 4-15 splits, if he can do a 4-15 split, he's probably going to be okay. But yeah, I go for Danish Frankie off that. But yeah, I can see what the lads are going for 4, just if there was any sort of trouble. But yeah, I just think that running dogs the Derby that haven't ran near, I just think is lunatic stuff. Like if he's fit to run the all, why didn't you run him in trials day a couple of weeks ago? You know, if he wasn't ready then, I can't see he's gonna be ready now. So yeah, look, I'll go for Danish Frankie anyway.
Here's Bomber. Moving on to Heat 27. Long 8 is Nutty in 1, Bombay 0 in 2, Freedom Epic in 3, Ben's Lad in 4, Belmore Lola in 5, and Supernova in 6. Dog guesser, what do you fancy? You're on mute, mate.
There we go.
Back in the building.
I actually quite like the Supernova dog here in 6. I mean, look, if you're doing 23.70, 23.80 around Romford, you're a proper sort, being honest. It's done 29.26 in a trial. Look, I'm not a massive time person, but you know, for me, that tells you that it'll get home, maybe in the back of a taxi, but you know, it might crawl home. The 1's a short, sort of early pace 6-bend dog. It's not going to go to the corner with these types. 2's got some okay trials. It stays well enough. Not really much early pace. 3's not a dog I particularly rate, if I'm being honest. And 4 and 5 are not, you know, they're not massive early pace sorts. I think the 6 could go a long way clear here, and I just think, you know, at the prices 5-2, 11-4, I think it's too big. I think Supernova will make all. Not a race I particularly like. Something may come and chin it, but I'd be happy to take my chance. You know, if it was sort of around the 3-1 mark, maybe 11-4. So yeah, Supernova for me, Paul.
Bomber, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I can see where Craig's coming from. I thought it was a very open race, to be honest, which I thought this is a real, like, if you can pick the winner, you're going to get a bit of value. Having said that, it's probably hard to pick. I like 5. I think she's got massive early pace. Ran reasonably well against like Distant Podge and them types. Like was in McClona Duke, didn't come away in that race, but yeah, she like when she hits it, she can really put in 17.62 and in knots is a great sprint. Like just shows you like she has fantastic early pace. If she got in front of 6, who has limited toaster experience, You know, you said, Doug has said he runs a Romford. Was the Yarmouth dog previously, and had good form in Yarmouth, to be fair. But you know, if he's not in front, he's not going to be probably going from behind you, type of way. It is Toaster as well. I'll probably go for 5. Reckon she's probably 3-1, 7-2. On the betting, I think she could be decent for value. Like, you just go for something worth. Yeah, I'd probably go for her in 5. Yeah, Belmore, Lola.
Cheers, Bomber. Heat 28. Infield Billy in 1. Savannah Sugar in 2. Salakers Smasher in 3. Long Raven in 4. Ninja Kerry in 5. And Untold Zloty in 6. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Another one of them heats where I wasn't mad keen on anything. Obviously, the Reds got some nice trials, be White Clover, sort of 28-80 Newcastle, which isn't pulling up any trees, 29-30 Toaster, which is a decent run. The 2 won a trial stake at a big price. It's going to have to lead. Doesn't really stay very strong. 3 looks hiding at the deep end. You know, young enough pup. I don't understand the entry into the derby, being honest. But, you know, who knows? The 4 looks a bit paceless, if I'm being honest. The 5, obviously, I think it won something at Hove. It can run, the Ninja Carry dog. Ball in the green can really do a dog. Making waves on the open scene. The 6 is going to move in from 6, I think. It's not the strongest. It's got good early pace. The 5 and 6 may just knacker each other up. I'd be half tempted if the 2 was massive on Betfair to take a real chance on the blue and just hope it gets clear and everything just falls over itself. It's not a race I particularly like. The 5 has to be favourite in the race, but I would take a chance on the 2, just at a massive price, because I just think everything could just do each other, and it could be one of them races where they all fall over each other and the 2 just escapes, and that's how it's won.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, it's another very open heat, to be fair, as Doggesser said. I think 6 is probably unlucky that he drew Ninja Carry on his inside. If he had an absolute plodder on his inside, he'd be out and gone. Especially in this heat, he'd just be a long way in front. It's just, can he get across from her? I do like him though when he puts together, but he can be very hit and miss. I think he did a really good run Sheffield one night when he came away. He can really he's massive in the back straight as well. When he get across, he's decent value. Like, he's not a stupidly short price or anything. I think he's probably 3-1. Craig, is he? I assume Ninja Carry's favourite, but yeah, I like him. I'd take a chance with 6 that if he could clear 5, he's a big player in the race. Now, she is game. She did beat Brady's Bullet in a 2-dog trial, which you have to take note of the last day. Like, that's probably what, she did 29-30 trial, and they went back a bit on the last trial. But to be fair, she bet Brady's Bullet, so it just must have been the track on the day. But yeah, I'd probably go for 6. I do like him. I just think he's got that smash break in him, and if he puts together, he could just be out and gone. He probably should outgun her into the bend. So I just take a chance on Toaster. Yeah, I go for 6. Weatherall's runner.
Cheers, Bomber. Heat 29. Chelm's Paul, Vixen's Flyer, Betsy's Bullet, Chasing Tommy T, Bubbly Gizmo, Antigua Biggin. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I thought this was a hard one. I thought it was, again, another open heat. This Saturday card, I think it's tough. I thought the one was a bit one-paced. The 2's a complete and utter screw, in my opinion. Yeah, I quite like Chasing Tommy T in 4 here. It's got a bit of early pace. For me, this is a race it could lead. It's not the strongest heat. Coming back from a little bit of a layoff. I know the Big and Dog He's obviously the class of the race, but it has such a misbreak in it. The 5 again is more one that wants to sort of run 5.75, 600 yards type of dog. 3 is a bit one-paced. I just think the 4's got a good chance to lead up here, and I think it'll be a price on the night. I think the big and dog will take up too much of the market. So yeah, if I had to be with anything, I'll be with chasing Tommy T, especially anything sort of 6+, 7+ on the old exchanges.
Bomber?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a wild one here. I think Chelm's Paul is a very fast dog, had some good Irish form. A couple of 28 40s and 50s. A Limerick, he's looking at his prices here. He's 6 and 7 to 1 in places. Huge price. It is a tough heat. It's a very open heat. He's not the best away, but if he could hold his pitch in the rails and there was a bit of trouble on the outside, he might just find himself. And he is fast. He'd be well able to do a 29, probably 20 or 30 run if he put everything together. But having said that, he's probably not shown the ability that he had in Ireland. 20-40 Limerick, probably hasn't matched up to Toaster. He ran well against Magic Cloud last day, but yeah, I just think if he could hold himself on the rails, he could find himself a good pitch. And he's running for a bit of value. As Craig says, these are open heats. It's a tough card. If you're going to play, you may as well play a value. There's no point to try and play the short price favourites in these heats or anything like that. So I'd probably, if I was going to do, I'd probably do them with something like the place market, depending on the price, but that's kind of what I'd be leaning towards. It's open enough. Antigua Big On, to be fair, is probably the most experienced and classiest dog in the race. He is getting a drop in grade. I think if you owned him, you'd be kind of going, right, this is our chance to win around the Derby. And, from that perspective. But yeah, no, I think I'll go. If I was tipping, I will go for the top. Chelm's Paul.
Cheers, Bomber. Heat 30. Miguel Mia, YI Man, Walk on Gaffer, Late Bolger, Casey's Tommy, Antigua Sugar. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Bit of a weird one. My girl Mia was obviously running very well during the Puppy Oaks at Toaster, I think, back in sort of November, December. Obviously really likes Toaster. The Gaffer dog has good early pace, doesn't stay a yard. Looks a bit hoid at the deep end, if I'm being honest. Late Bolger, again, been running the sort of weaker trial stakes. Casey's Tommy doesn't look the class. I think the 3 runners for me are 2, 1 and 6. I know I'm not really putting my neck on the line, but the 2's been bought by the new Wallace kid, whatever he's called. I can't remember his name, but obviously he's running Mark's kennels and Mark's training for him. Look, YI Man was a great dog on the Gleason. He can really run. He went to the semis, I think, of the Conan and Kirby. He's a bit of a chasey type. He's got a bit of early pace, but I'd have it between 2 and 6. I don't want to get really involved here, to be honest. If I had to bet anything at the prices now, I'd probably slightly favour the 6, but yeah, it wouldn't be a race for me to punt. But if I had to put a selection up and of just what I thought I'd win the race, I'd probably go with YI Man for Mark Wallace.
Cheers, mate. Bomber, what are your thoughts on this race?
Yeah, I kind of made it a 2-dog race, 2 and 6. I would say about 2 very fast dog in Ireland under Robert Gleason. My problem was, very inconsistent. Bit of a chasey type. When he puts together, he's class. When he doesn't, he's all over the shop. Very awkward at passing dogs and stuff. I never thought he really had the determination to push through. Don't think he's a rogue or anything like that, but I just don't think, if he thinks go his own way, he's fine. If they don't, he struggles to win. My one concern about him and why I think he's a bad 5-4 favourite is that it looks to be a real last-minute job to get him to Toaster. He ran in the Kirby or semi-final. He hasn't been over in the UK for that long. Looks to be a kind of a last-minute job that, he was sold or whatever to Wallace's new owner. On that basis, like, they threw him in a sprint. It's the UK. There's no such thing as private trials that we get over in Ireland. So, genuine, he hasn't had a 4-bound trial in Toaster. I would take him on a 5-4, to be honest with you. And if you're gonna, I'd probably lay him. I probably would just lay him on Betfair or whatever. But if you're gonna pick a selection to beat him, Antigua Sugar, classy, only in Nathan's kennel for a bit as well. Obviously, same type of deal. But she's very fast. You've seen how good she is. If 3 doesn't run the scratch, or if 2 doesn't run the scratch, only a new kennel, never had a 4-bound trial over there. I'd happily take him on a 5-4. I think he's ridiculously short, to be honest with you. There's no guarantee he'd even beat 6 if they were about 100%. So, in a 6-dog race. So yeah, I'd probably go for Antigua Sugar in this race. Go for 6 in this one.
Cheers, Bomber. Moving on to Heat 31. Coolavani Fort, owned by Mr. C. Day and Miss V. L. Dobson. Number 2, Broadson Noah. 3, Goldie's Perriman. 4, Leah's Dream. 5, Stevie Knows. And in 6, Bale's Legacy. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
Being honest, I think the value at the price has got to be the Goldie's dog. He's doing 28.05 in Perry Bar, I think. I mean, 2-1 just seems crazy. I mean, my lad in 1 is a dog who can really run. He's got some sort of form behind, like undulation and, some nice dogs, and he can run, and he's 29.67. I thought he'd have gone better than what he did the last day at Toaster, but he just kind of blew up, and a bit, to be honest, he probably bounced a little bit. He's got a good draw because the 2 is pretty slow and it'll edge off ever so slightly, but it won't be enough to trouble a 3 being fair. Stevie Knows got some A1 winning form round Sheffield, which is fair. The 4 looks like it might be a nice stayer, and the 6 for me just isn't the class without being disrespectful. I mean, I'd love to turn around and see 4 win this, but if I had to pick something, I think the value in the Heat is definitely the 3 at 2-1, and I can probably save on Fort on the night, and just get a little bit of money back if he wins it. But yeah, I thought between 3 and 1, and like I say, I think the Perriman dog will be the one to beat, being fair.
Cheers, mate. Bomber?
Yeah, I literally exact same as Craig. I think Guy's Perriman is getting a huge drop in grade here for what he's ran with. Runs Toaster decently well, to be fair, as well. It's not like he can't run the track. He's coming really from Jesus run against like Ivan Exile, Hoffman Ozark, them types. Just a really fast dog. Like him. I do always like him a lot. Especially in trap 3, he's in his right box. I didn't actually know Craig on the top. There you go. Best luck, Craig. Hopefully he qualifies. Decent trials, to be fair. Like, you can't complain. I know he says you hope he go better, but like, same time, that would have won you plenty trial stakes now heading into it. Like, so, if it was in a race, you would have been delighted. But obviously he's been off as well for a fair amount. But yeah, look, it's very hard to get away from 3. 2-1 is very good value. I've seen him shorter price in harder races, so I think 3-1 or 2-1 is good value on Guy's Perriman, to be fair. So yeah, I go with 3.
I think Goldie's Perriman ran well in the Derby last year, and I think it got beat in the Derby plate. I think it came second. Yeah,
he did. Sure, like he was beaten. I was just seeing Scar. He's beaten ahead by Hoffman Ozark in the final of the Laurels and Perry Bar. So like he said, he's 2-1 now in a race where there's no dog of that caliber in again. I'm like, 'cause he's beaten Brookside Ritchie and Ivan Exile. Now he's running with this, so 2-1 is actually serious value, to be honest with you. Going off that, but yeah, he's a very good dog.
Yeah, I think it was 50-1 to win the plate last year, so I picked it in the tipping comp. And I think if I'd got those 50 points, I would have been like so close to winning the tipping comp last year. So I was fuming, but we'll see what happens this year. Right, moving on to Heat 32. We've got Righty in 1, Pep in the Step in 2, Droopy's Google in 3, Slick Sakina in 4, Ballyhimmin, I can't even pronounce it, Leo in 5, and in 6, God Bless.
Ballyhimmican.
Ballyhimmican, Leo
Yeah.
in 5, and God Bless in 6. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
Yeah, I like the 4. Obviously, she won the Oaks. She won the Eclipse. She's a proper bitch. I know she's a wee bit undercooked. She has a little bit of a quirk, in my opinion. People might not agree, but if you do disagree, write to someone who gives a shit. If I'm being honest.
Craig, this is the lucky last. See, come on now.
Yeah, the 6 isn't the class. The 1 won't stay. Ran well in the gym crack. It's got good pace. It doesn't want 1. I don't understand how they're seeing it rails. That's, beyond me. But anyway, that's for more educated minds. The 2 for me is a bit of a raver. It's got a touch of early, goes 2 to 3, 1 sort of low level sort of races. Droopy's Google hasn't a lot to the bend, but is a pacey sort, can really run. I just think Slick Sakina in here will win and probably win 2 or 3 lengths. I think it's a proper dog, and if it's not beating these sort of types, I think you'd be sort of a bit disappointed. And the 5 is more of a 600-yard type, so probably similar to the 3. Yeah, Slick Sakina for me. I'd like to get involved at 6-4 plus.
Bomber, what's your thoughts for the final heat?
Yeah, so look, as Craig said, the Oaks winner, Slick Sakina, she was very impressive when she won. Didn't she go into the Eclipse, if I'm right, afterwards? Isn't it? She ran well. Yeah, look, she won the unraced bitch stake in Newbridge the year before. She was formerly Tullamurray and then sold for decent money. One thing I've noticed about her, I don't know if she's a bitch that likes the big layoffs. Like, obviously, maybe she was in season. I'm not sure if whatever way she was off. But I remember when she first got over to the UK, it took her a long time to find her feet. She got bet in a few races to kind of go, maybe she's not to lived up to. It all clicked at the right time. The Oaks, she was very impressed with her. The Oaks, to be fair, I was flying at the time. I actually thought she might come over for the bitch race in Shelburne, but she didn't in the end. But yeah, she's coming off a layoff. To be fair, she's only really getting back to racing. Decent trial, 407 sectional is mighty impressive. To be fair, like if she does that, she's going to be well clear. Like, Droopy's Google is an absolute airplane in a solo. Like, just finds it nearly impossible to nearly get to the front in some races. But when he gets to the front, seen a couple of times, he's got in front of Mom more than that. He's always done a very fast run. But he's never really done it the hard way. And it's hard to see him, come from behind, maybe Slick Sakina. She's going to need the run badly. I could see her tying up at the home straight, but she might just do enough early. From an Irish perspective, Ballyhimmican is a very, very fast dog. One concern is I wasn't really sure now. It's no trials on his card in Toaster, which is strange. He's also kind of a rush job being brought there. Very, very fast. Did a huge 5 run in Cork one night, I remember. There was a lot of talk about this dog when he was a pup, I remember. He was one that, because Ballyhimmican Jet started out as stud, and he bred a lot of fast dogs, which he has, to be fair. But yeah, look, I think the Oaks winner is very classy sort. 407 split, she's going to be well clear. Like, she's going to lead easy. Droopy's Google's probably our biggest danger, maybe coming at her. did some great trials there. She would have to tie up badly, and she'd have to start tying up near like just off third bend. But if she repeats the split, she should be out and gone, and it's her race to lose. But yeah, like I'd like to see her run well. Obviously, the Oaks when you want her to go well, it's not the greatest heat as well. Especially to be fair for Ballyhimmock and Leo, it's a heat that you'd like to see him kind of run well in. Just 'cause I think he's never on the track, but I think the heat might allow him to show his pace because Slicks Keane's going to be out and gone, and he should get room to run, even if we're around the track. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how he puts together because he is very fast when he gets a run. So yeah, look, I'll go for Slicks Keane as well. She is very skinny, but yeah, it's hard to get away from her.
Cheers, Bomber. Well, boys, that's the 32 heats covered. Good luck to Craig with Freddie and Fort. Hope you qualify, mate, for the next round.
Cheers, Bob.
Thank you, Bomber, for joining us.
No bother, Davey. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome, mate. Always a pleasure having you on. Right, guys. See you later.
Cheers, Bob.